What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 6 of the Storming the Nexus podcast. I'm Jeremy Quick, and this week I'm back with Kyle Lanfear. You know him. How you doing?
That's right. I'm on top of the world. Hey!
He did it anyway.
I did it anyways.
So you're on top of the world. What's the cause for that? Anything special happen?
I just love life. I just love life.
And you may have heard his voice, Mike Chorman.
I was expecting the surprise face.
It says Mike's surprised Chorman.
I can see that. It's right there.
So, how are you doing today? Excited to talk heroes?
I'm excited to talk heroes, and I'm not very surprised.
Why would you be surprised?
Never mind. I'm sure you'll cut to the face at least 16 times during this podcast, so go find out!
All right, so last week, Kevin Johnson sat down with Dustin Browder and KAO Milker. Gotta get the name right. To discuss
KAO.
new developments and answer the community's questions in the second developer QA. One of the questions answered was put forth by yours truly, right here, answered on stream.
Hey, be fair.
I did it! I'm famous!
And it involves stealth versus invisibility, and how those mechanics will be handled in Heroes of the Storm. So, Kyle, can you describe how this mechanic will be handled? To the best question, NA?
Maybe. Yeah, no, I think I can. I think I got this. Basically, what they had told us was that there's no invisibility. It's only stealth, and it's going to be handled with kind of a shimmer on screen. So you're going to have the ability to constantly see someone, even though they're stealth, but you'll have to really be looking for them, basically. What happened was, I guess they were playing with it other ways, and it was just a little... not being able to see them at all seemed a little too unfair, I think.
Right.
So they then added this shimmer, and they said even with the shimmer, most of the 9 times out of 10, if they're any bit sneaky, you're not going to see them.
Right.
And it's kind of how it played out during the games, even before when we did see some invisible characters. So it's basically just full-time stealth. If you make an attack on an enemy champion or a jungle creep, you'll break stealth. And hitting a stealth character with like an AoE attack or of some sort or a skill shot will also pull them out of stealth.
Right.
Yep.
So, it seems like with all the stealth in the game, I mean, Nova and Zeratul both have stealths that appear or that occur upon not taking damage or being out of combat for a couple seconds. Is this why that they've added this way to determine, or this stealth mechanic of being able to kind of see where they are?
I think so. I think because the way League of Legends handles this is with pink wards. So like you're able to allow a player to say, okay, I need to be able to see in this area, or I know this guy's near, I'm going to put this ward down so that I can see. In Heroes, you only have Watchtowers. So you don't really have a way that if you're in lane or in the jungle or moving around the map to be able to see these people. So they wanted to give, I believe they probably just wanted to give people a chance, but not too much because that is still a valuable part of those champions' playstyle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So with the shimmer, how much do you think they should give? I mean, if it's like a glaring obvious, then it's not really a stealth mechanic at all. But if it's the hardest thing to see in the world, and you have to literally be looking for it every single second of the game, which you're not going to do, then it's just going to be too much. How do you think they'll handle this?
I don't know if it is too much. I think that's what they want. You need to be paying attention. And they basically said, like, in the middle of a team fight, it's hard to keep track of them. And if they sneak up on you, usually they catch you off guard by you. They're too close to you by the time. It's enough to give them the positioning advantage, I think. But based on how the maps were shown, I don't believe we got a chance to just see how the shimmer looks. We were able to see both teams at the same time. So to us, you could see both all the invisible champions. So that will have to be something we'll see, I think,
Right.
when we're allowed to see one side or the other, or get our hands on the game.
One more thing with vision then, and these invisible or stealth characters. Mike, do you think Watchtowers should give vision to stealth players inside its radius? Because they're already limited range. Do you think they should help?
No, because you know what? That's a good question. I think we got to see how the game plays out. Right now, I want to say no. I don't think they should give you vision because even though they are limited range, that is a big, still, some maps have 2 watchtowers. That is a big hunk of the map where your hero's playstyle is completely negated. And I have a strange feeling that the heroes that have stealth will rely on it in some way or another and will be ridiculously underpowered without it.
Okay. Sophist, anything to add?
I kind of on the other side of it. I feel like maybe yes, because it allows the Watchtower to be a valuable resource, and even more so against teams with stealth champions,
Right.
and it just adds a priority to those targets as opposed to just this random thing that gives you vision in the middle of the jungle.
It kind of adds counterplay as well. It's another way to counter stealth without the lack of vision from wards because there's none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So moving on then. After the Q&A session ended, and before the live show match with Sean Day 9 Plot, they put up a poll the developers put up a poll with the map that the community wanted to see played, and there were only 3 choices on this map, on this poll, excluding Dragonshire. And now it was mentioned that Dragonshire is back in development. Why do you think this is?
Phil, you're the one that got to play it, so maybe you should start.
Honestly, I have no idea. Maybe they're reworking where things are on the map, positioning the things. Maybe they weren't happy with the size of it, where some of the mercenary camps were. I honestly couldn't tell you what they could be redoing, because it seemed to flow nicely when I played it. I mean, you had an obelisk here, an obelisk there, north of the north lane, south of the south lane. There was a mercenary camp even further on either side of it, siege mercenaries. I mean, once you captured them, it activated the statue. The statue was closer to the north side of the map than anything inside the jungle, but I don't know. It seemed like it worked. I thought it was fun. Maybe they're reworking the dragon. I have no idea.
I have an idea, maybe.
Okay. Tinfoil hat time.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's maybe it's what they're thinking. I'm not sure if it's what they should be thinking though. If you look at the other 3 maps, right? Every single one of these objectives is basically inevitable, right? Someone's going to turn 10 coins into the pirate ship. The tributes are gonna get caught. They're gonna get captured, and the grave golems are. I mean, yes, all these things could just sit there, but it'd be silly to not do it. And it's just gonna happen if people are looking for those objectives. With the Dragonshire, it was kind of like you're constantly fighting over these objectives, right? If I understand it correctly, someone takes over the top obelisk, then you go to the bottom obelisk, and all someone has to do is go right back up top and recapture that one.
Right.
It was quick too, because once you went to take over an obelisk, it was I think 4 seconds before it went neutral again. And you needed to channel for 5 or 6 to get the buff, so it was really hard to actually get the dragon buff.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wonder if they're trying to add some sort of inevitability to this map, right? Say, once you capture an obelisk, maybe it's now yours for a set amount of time. Or I'm not sure. Like that to me would maybe seem like that's what they want, because they really focus on these map objectives and you wanting to get them. And maybe in that map it was just so hard to really do that. You just defended it. As long as you didn't let someone turn into the Dragon Knight, you could win other ways.
Or maybe there was just too much stalemate. I mean, if
Yeah.
if you think about it, there'd have to be probably at least you want one person in each lane. That's 2 people. Then you have to have one person channeling in the middle. That leaves 1 for each of the obelisks on the top and the bottom. You're spread thin, and they can simply push the 3-man group to one of them, and it's immediately neutralized. So maybe there was just too much of a stalemate and wasn't making their 20-minute mark. That'd be my best guess.
That's sort of what I'm thinking. I think it still actually hit the 20, or if I remember correctly, I think it was still hitting around the 20-minute mark, just because of inevitability of power of people and death timers, right?
Right.
So you get to a certain point in this game, if you outlevel someone, you're probably going to kill them. If you hit that little break point at one of those ultimates or the storm powers, you could capitalize on that. You could still use the jungle minions to really push. So I think maybe... Like, I think if that's what I had to look at, that's where I would look and say, look, maybe you just defend these things until you win as a normal MOBA. And then once you have the advantage, now you can go back. You've pushed the advantage into their base. Now you can go back, get the Dragon Knight, win the game. It's not really that fun at that point. But I'm not sure. I've not played the map. So maybe if I had to guess, that's where I'm thinking they were looking.
You know what I'm thinking of it now. I never played Cursed Hollow, so I can only infer from what I've seen. But I think that Dragonshire is going to be... It was, out of the 4 maps, the hardest objective to take. Because
Okay.
Blackheart, you gather coins. There's multiple ways to gather coins. You can gather them off the corpses of your enemies, even.
And
Haunted
anyone can turn them
Mines.
in at any time.
Right.
They
Exactly.
just add up.
Haunted Mine, you go down, collect skulls for the team. Cursed Hollow seemed to be more team fights around the tributes, but it seemed easier to get. This, I think there were too many variables because you needed both obelisks guarded, and you needed to guard the guy channeling on the statue.
Right.
I mean, this game, they had a 20-minute time limit at BlizzCon, and this game I think got
To the wire, I believe you told me.
I think 1 or 2 dragons out the entire map. Versus Blackheart's Bay, how many cannon barrages do you see on the Blackheart's Bay?
Yeah.
Or have we seen?
So you may see, like I said, you may see once you capture it, or maybe the obelisks will activate and you have a set amount of time, similar to the tributes.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it also seemed that this was the most volatile map objective, because depending on who got the dragon, it was either the most underpowered or the most overpowered, depending on the individual skill of the person getting it. I mean, when I was walking towards their base, I looked at the abilities. The Fire Breath, it's like, deal fire damage in a cone in front of you over a few seconds, amounting to like 1,100 damage, which was an obscene amount of damage.
Right.
Do a charge for 900. Yeah, sorry.
How would you feel if instead of all these things to get the one dragon warrior, what if there was a warrior of the moon and a warrior of the sun, right? So you're able to turn into each one of these. So if someone goes for the bottom one, you could say, all right, I'm going for the top. Maybe we can give you kind of some counterplay there.
Maybe. I mean, I think what they need is another objective, because, Blackheart's Bay has a Grave Golem, Cursed Hollow has Grave Golems. Dragonshire only has the dragon.
Yeah, there's no throw pit. There's no throw pit on Dragonshire. You can't throw games easily on this map.
Right, there's... all the other mercenary camps are lesser camps. Nothing powerful to push with. So really, your only objective is the Dragon Knight.
And it was
none of these other sub-objectives. And it was really difficult to get. But once you did get it, oh my god.
What if they just added more just shrines in general? You needed the majority of shrines. Like if they had, a 4 or 4, just top left,
5,
bottom right.
No, do 5, and you need 3 out of 5.
That could work.
Yeah, 4 would be a little odd.
Yeah,
because there's
yeah.
multiple ways that they can look to fix this,
Right.
I think.
If it needed fixing in the first place. We don't know that.
We don't know why they're redoing it. Maybe there was a critical error.
That's just my guess. If I had to guess that anything would be, what they're going to fix, it would be look at that.
Yeah, maybe they found a mechanic, a game-breaking bug, testing out new heroes on it. Who knows?
If you play Uther and heal someone on this map, the game blows up.
Uther doesn't walk away this time, folks.
Also, one thing I want to mention, and it's something I pulled out of this Q&A while watching it. We had a 20-minute time limit at BlizzCon. From the way they're talking, that time limit's gone.
Right.
Because they're talking like, oh yeah, most of our games last about 20, 25 minutes. We had one really long one. Yeah, we had one really long one that was over 35 minutes long. I'm like...
That was the case, though. No, from what I understand, that's the time limit was just enforced there to move people through the line.
Right, well, I was also being told for weeks afterwards that time limit was here to stay and was actually being in the game, final copy.
I could see it being like a blitz game mode. Like you have a guaranteed 20 minutes to play on your lunch break.
Yeah, I could
That would
see
be
This
that.
is a 20-minute game mode, no longer.
I could see that maybe being a thing. But yeah, from my understanding, that was not. It was just a misinterpretation of what it was said
Yeah.
at BlizzCon.
I mean, if you look at the maps as a whole, if you look at Blackheart's Bay, there's a sense of inevitability. People are going to keep turning coins in. Things are just going to keep dying until there's nothing left but the core. And then I don't know if Blackheart can kill the core, but you can walk in and kill the core yourself.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
kill
gonna
everything
go-
else at the very
Right.
least.
You
I don't
look
know
at
if it's
Haunted
going to-
Mines. The golems will keep inching closer and closer until it eventually hits the end point, at which point it will kill it if nothing happens.
Yeah.
So
and
there's a
those
sense of
golems,
inevitability.
They're not turning around.
Right.
Like they said, they're Honey Badger. They
Just going to
go
do a
right for those
360 and walk
fucking
away.
golems. Yes, they will not do the 360.
And then you have Cursed Hollow. While not a complete inevitability, assuming you get the curse, your lanes will automatically push. Because there's no towers on the other side, and the minions don't have half health. So, maybe not a direct inevitability, but it will be a lot easier. So maybe there just needs to be a sense of it on Dragonshire. But I guess we'll see, hopefully, the next Q&A.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
So, moving on, another cool feature that they mentioned in the Q&A was that there will be special interactions between specific heroes. They mentioned some being on death or just encountering a hero in battle, but what interactions would... Mike, I guess Sophist doesn't want to answer this question first. What interactions would you like to see in game?
You're going to see interactions between Raynor and Kerrigan, beyond the shadow of a doubt. Likely Raynor and Nova as well. Uther and Arthas, 100,000%. Jaina and Arthas when she's in. Probably Thrall and Jaina. Going into Diablo, Tyrael and Diablo, most definitely. Maybe any of the heroes, the Witch Doctor, Barbarian, and Demon Hunter. Maybe you'll get some interaction by them. You'll definitely get interaction between all of them in Diablo, I think, considering he was the big baddie and you're basically set on killing him. So I see a lot of room for interaction, and maybe some random, unexpected interaction, like between Kerrigan and Diablo, like I don't recognize you as part of the Zerg. Like, what the hell
You're
are
a
you?
big Zergling.
Yes, you're a really big Zergling.
That's what I was gonna say. What I'm most looking forward to is actually the interactions between universes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like Thrall meeting the Tinkerer, you know what I mean? Like something like crazy, or
Yeah.
Sergeant Hammer meeting the Barbarian or something. Like that. That's something I want to see. The other ones I understand. I'm not huge into the lore of these games. I like some of the storyline, but and it's good. I enjoy it, but I like the comedy. That's one of the things I've always liked about Blizzard games is their ability to kind of poke fun at what's going on in pop culture or themselves.
Tyrande shoots Malfurion in the back of the head with an arrow. I'm so sorry, my love, when he dies. Something like that. I mean, that's another thing. Yeah, I just thought of. Illidan. Oh, someone, Luke in chat. Illidan and Arthas. Yes.
Yeah.
Because that was, a big showdown at
Well,
the end of the Frozen Throne.
he was not prepared.
No, Illidan was not prepared.
I mean, Hearthstone does this a little with, like, when you play Illidan against the Druid.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I'm not sure if it happens with the Druid. He says, hello, brother. So Blizzard has definitely thought of these. I'm just waiting to see the
You know what I
lines
have
that
to
they come
do?
up
I
with.
have to play Cairn in a warrior deck.
That'd be interesting.
It even says
yeah.
not to. It says it would be insensitive not to, or insensitive to do it if
Yeah.
on the card, the little flavor text. So maybe I'm gonna
Right.
go do that.
All right.
Be right back.
Just AFK right now. So lastly, after the Q&A, we got to see the awesome game shoutcast by Dustin Browder and Day 9. So it was voted by the community that this would be on the Haunted Mines map, the second time that we got to see this map. Did anything new stand out to you from this game?
Other than we got confirmation on Sergeant Hammer and Tyrande's second ults. That was really the most prominent thing that stood out to me. Other than
Yeah.
that, it was just another match on the Haunted
You
Mines.
you called the Starfall, right? If I remember,
I
I
was
think
a-
we went over this before. I think you called the Starfall at the end
It
of
was
the
an
last.
educated guess based on Warcraft 3. I'm like, hey, she has invisibility. That's a utility alt. Well, let's go for an offensive alt. I call Starfall. And it wasn't exactly what I was thinking, but you know what? Like the way they did it, but it worked. Little circle around her. If you're inside that circle, you're getting struck with meteors every second.
Yep.
2 seconds. Something. You're getting hurt. Ow.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed when I was watching with some friends, the mini map looked really awkward, like really awkward, because of the double layers. And we were discussing it, and I think, and we think, just the best solution just have it toggleable,
Yeah.
because it looked really squished vertically because they had to fit 2 maps in. But
Well, when I was playing it, because I played Haunted Mines too, it didn't seem squished. It worked. And I was playing Abathur, so I had to keep going back and forth between the maps, which, by the way, his Q doesn't matter where you are, it works no matter what side of the map you're on. It was nice. It worked. I thought it worked. I had no problem with it.
I think maybe they just need to at least fancy it up because it does look a little like
there's like a weird borders around it.
yeah.
Yeah.
At least throw some sort of artwork in there, which I mean,
It was functional.
that'll be different.
Oh,
I think.
yeah.
It'll look like that upon release.
The other thing I wonder is, I mean, you kind of touched on it. Abathur can go anywhere. Can ETC global alt anywhere to anywhere?
I wanted to ask that
Stage
question.
dive underground.
Yeah,
No,
just somehow appear in the underground mines by leaping up.
I want to ask that very specific question for the next Q&A.
Oh my god! I hope they change the animation for that. I don't even know how you do that. I just
Cool.
underground, just tunnels.
What's cool is when you're going through the middle of the map, there's sections where you could see underground into the mines, and you'll see, if you look, pay attention, you'll see little real-time movements of enemy or your friendly heroes moving down there. Like, they just look like tiny specks deep underground. But I mean, it's a nice little bit of extra flavor or something.
Right.
You would, detail, nice detail.
Yeah, it's cool looking. I like it.
The other thing was now in the mines, it shows I think the location of the remaining skulls. I mean, how much would it suck to have 99 skulls collected and you just can't find that last skull?
Oh, you got 99 problems.
The location thing, when you're playing it, they don't show up. There was no indication.
Maybe it does now. Maybe it was just because how much would it suck, right? Your head, you got almost 100 skull grave golem, and then where the fuck is it?
Yeah, because there was
Where?
no indication where they
Maybe
were.
it could happen after a certain amount of time.
Right.
If you just let them sit there or something.
I thought there was a time
I
limit.
think fixed.
I mean, that was my impression at BlizzCon, but then again, that was my very first map I played, so I was really like, what am I doing?
All right, so did we learn anything new? I mean, you already touched on the new ultimates. We saw the Starfall from Tyrande, her second ultimate. And we also saw Sergeant Hammer's ultimate, which was the Mortars. But anything else?
Really low cooldown. No, if there was anything else I didn't notice. I mean, I noticed Arthas got shot in the back of the head by Nova, and when he died, his body hit the ground and went sliding for 20 feet. That was one thing I noticed. I'm like, that was a fucking awesome death animation. Because
Those
he
are
went
awesome sound effects.
Yes.
sorry, 'cause he went
Have
like,
you ever thought about doing
"Oh."
VO work?
No, I have thought about it, but my voices are terrible. You call for Sean Connery, and I sound like Richard Nixon.
It could work.
Well,
All right, Kyle?
I mean, I just enjoyed watching the game. I think Dustin Browder's back hurts a little bit. For carrying that shoutcast.
yeah.
I love Day 9. Don't get me wrong. I love Day 9. I watch his stuff. But yeah, that was entertaining. Also, I did like the fact that I knew that the red team was going to win. I had faith, and they did it. So the comeback starts. They're coming back.
1-4,
4-1.
the dream.
Yep. We're going to be fine. We're getting there. We're getting there.
One other thing that that we're not going to touch on today, but we are going to touch on next time is all about towers. Towers, ammo, tower aggro. We learned how the towers aggro, and it's kind of interesting. But stay tuned for that next time, because we won't have time to cover it today. But lastly, about the Q&A, when is the next one? When do you guys think we'll see the next one?
Next month.
Next month?
Yeah, 2-3 weeks probably. I
Okay.
think.
Yeah, I'll say 3 weeks. 3 weeks to a month.
Like I think,
Hmm.
yeah, one of the things I took away from this was that when Dustin was talking about how he was so used to working on box release games and how he was like, no, I need this isn't ready. We can't show this yet. Like it seems like he's getting more comfortable with the kind of Riot free to play, you know, move some stuff out, show people what's going on. Like he's kind of getting more okay with the fact that like things aren't perfect yet, but
Right.
we're moving, we're doing this, and I think he's embraced it and wants to, keep people in the loop, so to say. So
Mhm.
when they have something to show, if they can show something new off, I think that's what you want to do with this kind of a game.
I'll blame BlizzCon for that because the game's reception at BlizzCon was just totally,
Right.
completely astounding.
Right. We also didn't get a clean version of the VOD for shoutcasting at this time, which is a little sad, but I'm sure that they're gonna think of this in the future.
That was probably because it was a live thing.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. So, moving on now to our second topic about the talent system. One of the questions in the Q&A asked for a detailed description of the talent system, and Dustin responded that they are redesigning it so that each hero has multiple ways to play. They really don't want people feeling like there's a right answer. But isn't there always kind of a right answer?
If you take World of Warcraft's talent system currently, for example, you have 6 tiers of talents. Choose one of 3 options. In some cases, that works great. There is no right answer, and you could pick any of them, and it'll work equally well. It's based on personal preference. But then you get to certain ones that increase DPS, and one is clearly above the others. Like, it's a no-brainer. Example of enhancement Shammy I've been playing a lot. You level 90 talent. It's like, all right, you're gonna take what's the one? Take Primal Elementalist, and for all situations. But once you get 2-piece tier 16, take Unleash Elements, because then it's just a no-brainer.
I think the key here is you want these things to be, there's always going to be a right answer, right?
Right.
For a specific way that you want to play your champion. So the key here is to say, look, if you're building your champion to do some AoE, you want to do that extra AoE damage, then you want to be taking these specific talents.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to build him more of an assassin, take these specific talents. If you want to have more utility, you're not the one that's going to be relied on to do tons of this damage, then you take these talents. I think that's the key here, is to, yes, there's going to be a right answer. You need to be okay with that. But you need to allow multiple stages of, specific paths. So if you're going to offer 3 choices every so many levels, make sure that these 3 choices kind of work with each other.
Right.
And so that they're able to pick and move along these types of things. And I don't necessarily think stats are a wrong choice here, but you have to get creative with those talents, or with those stats. You need to be able to allow them to, again, work with the talents.
Mm-hmm.
Give you a stat that's going to allow you to sustain better, or do one specific ability better. But if you're going to give stat choices, every choice in that tier should probably be one stat. Should all be stats. I'm sorry. Everything in that tier should all be at least a different stat. You don't want to give them the option to say, oh, do you want health as a tank, or do you want these different abilities?
Right.
I want health. That's way more consistent. No, you want the abilities to be in one tier, or the stats in the other tiers.
Okay.
Or if they give you stats, have every tier. So you get 3 choices. They all give you the exact same stat. They all give you 200 health, but you get a different effect, and all the effects are equally useful.
Okay.
Something like that, maybe.
I think, like you said, there's always going to be a right answer. But as long as there's some situation where this talent could be useful or this talent could be useful, as long as there's a time when that will work, I think it'll happen and it's okay. Because think about it. There's not just going to be 3 talents per tier. Oh, no. You can pick... there's more than 3 talents outside the game, and you cut it down to 3 to take into the game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, balancing 5, 6 talents in a tier is going to be awfully hard.
Yeah. Well, what they could do is almost make them uniform for every champion. You give every champion a specific way to be AoE damage, to be a tank, to be an AP character, to be an AD character, to be an assassin, to be a support character. So you give everyone all those abilities and say, "Fine, you want to play Illidan as a support? Go ahead and try. These are your support talents." So yes, no, those are probably not the right answer if you're playing Illidan the way he probably should be played. But the option's there, and if you're going to do that, you have that path to follow. So yes, if you're going to be that champion, you probably want to pick all those, and yes, that's the answer for you.
Mm-hmm.
They said that they wanted to spice up the talent tree, though. If it's just, plus 5 AD, plus 5 AP, plus 5 movement speed, plus 50 health, that's not very exciting, right? But I think there's going to be a balance somewhere.
Yeah, I think not on the surface, that's not exciting. But when you get to things like when you're able to say, I'm just going to stack as much movement speed as I can on this guy and watch how fast I can move him around the screen, that's where I like some of the creativity of a game like in League of Legends, where you're able to just I'm going to play Hecarim, and which is the horse champion that's innately supposed to be pretty quick. And I'm just going to put a bunch of movement speed on him and just watch him fly around the screen. And it's going to be a silly game, but I'm going to have fun.
Right.
I think that's something they want to capture just with their system.
And I want to use a Falstad as an example here. I remember one tier talent popped up. It's like, you get 25 attack damage, 35 ability power, or 20% attack speed. And I'm like, oh God. I auto-attack a lot, but I took that talent that causes my hammers to cause chain lightning when they strike. But I'm throwing my hammer a lot, and I want the ability. Oh God.
Right.
So I had one of those moments, like, what the flying fuck do I pick?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a successful example. Give you choices, and none of them's the wrong answer, because legitimately, none of them were the wrong answer.
Sophist, from chat, Saren is accepting your challenge of an Illidan support jungle.
God.
Perfect. See?
All right, so
good.
I mean, raw stats, like you said, they most likely need to be in their own tier. Pick between health, mana, and some kind of damage multiplier or something like that.
Yeah, and
Another example.
I think you want to make it uniform across champions. Like every champion at level 5 gets their stat talent, right?
Right.
And at this level, you get another stat talent.
Maybe not by champion, but by role. Because, have tanks have this specific set, have the damage dealers do this.
You want to make it as uniform as possible so that, not every champion is all over the place, and then people think that, that'd just be, you could do it, but to me, that would be really, really, really hard to balance.
Right.
It's already hard enough. So.
Level 1 with Tyrael. Choose health regen, or mana regen. And one of the devs I spoke to after the game outright said it. In this current build, choosing anything but health on Tyrael in every tier is the wrong way to do it. I was like, oh, so basically there's one way to play him and nothing else, you're telling me?
Well, you can have fun with, I'm sure, mana regen Tyrael, which would do absolutely nothing.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, one of those health talents gave you Sunfire Cape effect. You wanted it.
I play mana regen Mundo.
All right, so also from this last dev match, we got to see some additional buttons on the very end of some of the abilities, and rumor has it that it's either from the talent tree or it's just gained at some sort of level, and it's just an additional ability that you get. For example, we saw Malfurion and Azeba both take an ice block mechanic that didn't really help them at all because they just kind of used it when they were going to die anyways. But it basically makes you invulnerable for a couple seconds, but you can't do anything. Just like an ice buff. Wow. Nova also had one of these, and it gave her a small buff. It looked like an attack speed buff, but we can't be 100% sure.
You know how League has their summoner spells, and Smite has their active items you buy that kind of take the place of summoner spells.
Right.
Do you think this is their answer to that? It's one thing you get, and it's an activatable thing, for a short time. Because I mean that ice block, it sounds exactly like a Zanya's Hourglass, just without stats.
Right.
It's the Zanya's
I
effect.
don't think so because not everybody has one, from what I saw.
Okay.
I think it's similar. But I don't. Yeah, like you said, I think at this point I'd have to see more to really make a
For everything
a judgment on it, just to see what kind of because they haven't really gone over the talent system. They did say that they were going to show more at some point, but right now they've kind of decided that they need to retool some things, which is why I think this was a good thing to talk about right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing I'm interested in. I'm really, because like you said, that's like a Zonya's. Are they going to have like a talent where you can at some point get like a flash effect where you blink so many, feet away from where you were?
I mean, a thought I just had, because I remember hearing something like, you have 6 possible talents for a tier and you can only take 3 into battle. What if, there's 5 hero specific and 1 general across every hero talent tree? Where things like that would fall into, like a Zanya's effect or a flash or things like that.
I could see that. But, I mean, I don't know how useful is that ice block mechanic really going to be?
I don't know.
Depends on the champion.
League, in League, it's very useful in many case situations,
right.
But I don't know. I think it would depend on the champion. Because you're not going to get a Zonya's on a Hecarim, to use the Horseman example.
Yeah, I don't think they want to offer too many of these, but I think you might be right. Onto something here, Thil, is that you give the ability to take one of these into the game, maybe 2 at most, and you have to pick. There's only so many. There's just a bunch of generic ones. Do you want the blink? Do you want the ice block? Do you want a heal? Do you want some sort of cleanse?
Right.
Like you drop a totem or something and it cleanses you. Like even though you're not necessarily a shaman, but you just make. I mean, it's its own universe, so they're open to do a lot of things. Not all Nova shouldn't have an ice block.
Nova doesn't have an ice. Malfurion shouldn't have an ice block.
Well, yeah.
A druid is not a mage. Blizzard, get it right.
I want to
Call
see
it Barkskin.
Diablo
Turn himself into a
with
tree.
an ice block. The Diablo
Yeah,
ice block.
I'm not sure. I remember now that Mirrodin also had one, and it was just a group AoE heal. And I'm not sure what that was about, but I mean that's a somewhat useful. That's a more useful one in my opinion.
Yeah, that would be useful.
I agree. I think it's a cool thing for them to be playing around with. So I think that's another thing that they want to. The talent system is really important for something like this.
Oh yes.
So they really need to get this right. So they want to make sure that it sounds and plays well.
I mean, a heal would be amazing, especially if it's on par with Uther's heals. I mean, speaking of healing, actually, I think Tyranda's heal does another effect on her too, because when she casts it, the same swirly effect goes off on her that goes off on her target. Whereas Uther just, puts his hammer up and the person gets healed with, light, shiny, glowing light.
Okay.
Just another random thought I'm having midway through this discussion.
So, if you remember back from episode 2, and a little later for Sophist, we made predictions of when we thought the Heroes of the Storm beta was going to start. It's end of January now. And, we're still kind of looking on par. Kind of, maybe. Thil said March 1st. It's looking a little unlikely, considering it still looks to be in the dev stages. I said March 31st, which is looking a little more likely, but I think we're still a little off there. And Sophist said mid-March, so he's kind of in the middle right now. But we'll have to see when it actually starts, and stay tuned for that.
Yeah. I want it now.
Who doesn't?
I mean, Dustin, I'm your friend. We spoke for 35 seconds at BlizzCon. We shook hands. I'm your friend, right? Right? I can get in Friends and Family Alpha?
Yes.
I mean, Kevin Johnson knows me, right? He watches my stream.
He shouted you out. Hey, my question got answered indirectly. They
All right.
favorited my tweet. I'm like, yay, my question's getting answered. And then all of a sudden, Kevin asks the question without crediting me. I'm like,
cry.
Probably
Cry more.
had
Look
it planned already.
at that serious face.
He's so surprised.
I know. All right. So
no one knows me, so it's fine. We're good.
find
my
out
glasses
the
go?
latest Heroes of the Storm news, hero guides, and articles at stormforgedheroes.com. Thil puts up articles, at least one a week,
on Nazaba.
and I do a little more in-depth analysis on some of the Heroes of the Storm content. Kyle, aka Sophist,
How soft am I?
you don't look that soft right now. Your camera's a little
Check it
white.
out.
No, it's
well,
gray.
No, I'm white.
It's
That's
fuzzy.
me.
Anything else?
That's it.
That's it.
I got nothing.
Are you still on top of the world?
Yes. I'm on top of the world. Hey.
Mike Chorman, aka Thilladren.
Hi.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Hi.
You know, I never realized.
And
how...
me at Squishei. See you guys next time for more Heroes of the Storm content.
See ya.
Bye.